Welcome to the weekend roundup. I don't know why I said it like that. So Sunday mornings become this tradition where Jimmy and I take a pause. Okay, like what the fuck just happened? Like what the actual fuck just happened? We have a bunch of amazing guests every week. We do, 5 shows during the week. We've got, a couple different shows on top of that happen on this year, the Uplifters channel. And there's just a ton happening. And then of course we use this as an opportunity to talk about the guests that we have coming up as well. And Wax is mooning. Gary Vaynerchuk's fucking blowing up Wax projects now. Like shit's weird. Shit's officially weird. In the best possible way. And I mean, I haven't even mentioned, this is like a record. We're 2 minutes into this show and I haven't mentioned the upload. Oops, just did it. There's a new website called the just upliftworld.community that is amazeballs already. Like after 48 hours, it's listing off all the people that are in the community cluster. And there's a gazillion of them now, including, websites and links to telegrams and stuff like that. Like it's that community has become kind of an aggregator for all the amazing projects in the space. Like it really is an amazing cross section of the whole, Wax and sort of greater ecosystem around EOSIO. And we could be more happy about that, but like having it sectioned out and, on that new community website that was built for us just by a friend of the community, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And all the builds, are happening. So we should tour them.
There's a lot going on in the front end and on the back end and so many things. So it's kind of nice to go.
Hey, Jimmy. That's what she said.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry. I had no choice. I'm morally obligated to make that's what she said jokes. It's in my contract.
Yeah. You just threw me under the bus.
I'm sorry, buddy.
All right, man. I was just going to say, there's so much going on, and fair enough, on the front end and on the back end of our lives right now. Yeah. Like with all of these different projects that it's kind of nice just to sit down and not have a plan. I mean, most of the time we don't always have a plan anyway, but we I kind of have a plan when we have guests because I have to leave them time to talk, so it's a little bit more stressful than Sunday morning with Corey, or Sunday evening with, Jimmy D, I guess, whichever way you want to play it.
Yep.
Really? I totally set you up there for another one.
Sometimes I can do it without doing it. And I wanted to leave because I did kind of step on your comment before, so I kind of wanted to leave it alone, but I really did just want to be like, because that expectation is super, super fun.
No, it's okay. It takes me a while to wake up because I usually check out. It's funny because I haven't done this in years, but recently in my life, I've been recently checking out on Saturday and Sunday, right? Like we live in this crazy world where, most people, they work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I kind of don't like, that's kind of like my free time. Like I do work, but I kind of have, a lot of my own schedule at certain times of the year. And it's weekends where I have to kind of do stuff with my daughter and be there, that's when I get screwed, right? It's like my full-time job is looking after that end of things. So it's kind of nice just to be able to unwind and turn the lights back on, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's been, things are getting intense. I sort of like double billing this as obviously we want to kind of review all the stuff. I'll put the YouTube video up in a minute, but I like where you're kind of going with this as far as it's just the more times we can sort of sit back and take a bit of a breath, I think we're going to need those opportunities moving forward. Can you still hear me? You can't hear me, can you?
No, I can totally hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Google Chrome is crashing, so I'm going to disappear, but I'll be back momentarily.
Okay.
I need a new computer. I've been beating this thing up for quite a long time.
All right. Well, welcome to an evening fun with Jimmy D. Let me see if before it crashes, I can put the YouTube up on the screen. Are you still there? Yeah, you are still there. Okay. Let's rock this. So until it crashes, why don't you talk us out while I look for this thing? So you have something on your screen there. I think it says 13 days. Oh, you're totally not there anymore. Okay. So yeah, Corey's gone. I guess I'll just. Corey's doubled up. Okay, cool. You were kind of frozen there, and I thought I was talking to you, but I wasn't. So what I was saying is, right there on your screen, it says 13 days, 3 hours. And I guess that's the date until the uplift, until totally spawning, until the uplift launches. The uplift world launches, right? Like it becomes open and people can actually go in there. And there's a couple events that I think are sectioned around the opening. There's going to be some NFT, land key sales, things like that are happening. But yeah, that was my ramble while you were respawning, as Lisa Chandler points out.
Right. So I want to throw some gratitudes down for each of us, but I do want to take a pause. Lisa's in the comments. She actually got in Worlds for the first time, and I got to hop in here and take some screenshots and some selfies with Lisa Chandler from Crown while she was here for the first time, and kind of showing her around. Shared a sunrise from at the top, which was kind of fun. We haven't really done that too much in the last little while, but it was good. So, yep. That's happening. I'm gonna be I don't know if this is shallow or not. I don't really give a shit. I'm grateful this morning for Gary V, who's blowing up Wax .io based stuff. How about you, Jimmy?
I'm grateful. This isn't my first rodeo.
Fair enough.
I before we went live, I was kind of complaining to you about a couple of things, right? Like just thinking about it and complaining about it and getting it off my chest, realized that these things aren't really that bad.
And they're good problems.
Yeah, and I'm not like.
Ah, damn it! I'd put my name instead of yours.
Oh, that's okay. But I just realized that when people first get into crypto, and shit starts popping or shit starts crashing, it's like it really is like you're in the middle of like a 4D version of the next Avengers movie, and you think that you're about to die, but when it's not your first rodeo, you just realize that if you wouldn't have been looking at Blockfolio, it would have been like Schrodinger's cat. You wouldn't have known whether it was dead or alive, right? It really is, right? It goes so quickly. It's just it's just a really weird reference for me all the time, because this is kind of what I think. It's like somebody will call me, or somebody will say did you see the price of this morning? And I'm like, I'll look at it on my phone and I'll be like, oh. And then I'll go back to this morning, and it's either, a big spike or a big hike or whatever. You don't know, but a lot of times nothing really, of course, like you said, wax is popping off, and things do pop off now and again. But for the most part, when you first get into crypto, you go kind of crazy. You're just like, oh my God, the market's crashing. It went down 3%. And then it's back up to 5%, the next day. And so it's kind of nice to be a little bit more relaxed about it, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. And even this time, I'm still a little attached to Blockfolio, but I have been remarking to myself a bunch that I'm so busy now that I'll go days without looking, and that's more fun. It's a lot more fun. And really it going down or even spiking a bunch, there is sort of an emotional and mental distance now for me this time, whereas last cycle, which was my first, this is like, what the fuck? Like every day, all the time. And it was for like these 5% moves. And now, like after that last cycle, if it's not like a 15-20% move, I was like, whatever. Which is hilarious. These are super fun problems to have.
Yeah.
So got some gratitudes done. Okay, I gotta show everybody this before we get into the video review, just because it's effing glorious. Like super de duper glorious. Yeah, I said super de duper. Deal with it.
Theme song for Mary Poppins too.
What? Super de That's a strange reference, and I am here for it. Oh, I like it, I do. So yeah, this is upliftworld.community. You can have .community websites, which in and of itself is a thing of fantascitude. So it's got a link to visit the Uplift World from your browser. It's got the 2D map, which is super fun. You can actually visit it from Minecraft if you get whitelisted. We should actually probably take this off because nobody is actually able to use this yet. But I mean, it's maybe good to have for, I don't know, because if you're not going to get whitelisted, it doesn't really matter anyway. We got community cluster pre-alpha builders that they mysterious benefactors who created Uplift World Community. Put some videos up and made this. Like I've been waiting for this for a while, and it's basically everybody's logo who's in the community cluster.
The logo thing is super cool. Your writing was pretty cool, but the logo thing,
it wasn't. My writing was terrible. This is amazing.
No, but like it was cool to see like who's involved. But now that you have the logos, it's like super cool. Right?
Yeah, it's so much better. Oh, I love that the crown logo is actually a screenshot of the amazing build that my dear friend Greg helped them actually put in there. This is like a giant. You can see it from the 2D map. Again, go to upliftworld.community. You can get a link to the 2D map there. You can zoom in on Crown and see the giant installation that's there. And they're actually building test farms underneath because they're showing people how to farm, different crops and stuff. And there's like sort of big farm underneath, and they got like this cool wind turbine that for sure wasn't magicked in there and was totally hand built. It was not, but it looks really cool. Anyway. It boggles the mind. Hey, we got Furion on here too. I don't know if we have them set up yet, but we should. I don't know them yet. Where do they want to live? I keep hearing that name. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, and look seriously, what? Sigh. It's just so good, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
so good.
It's like what I have in my browser folder to remember where things are, except like a million times better.
Yeah, I'm beyond. Of course, Anders shows up. The leader of the newfound Anioism religion. It is a maximalist religion of the highest order, where using anything other than purest survival mode in Minecraft gets you shunned as just the sacrilegious and a cast out of the pure caste of Anioism.
He's like Beetlejuice. He's like Beetlejuice. You say it 3 times and he just magically appears. And
That's
says,
right. Yeah. Creative mode. Andrew shows up. He's like, you pussies.
That's good.
Oh, there you go. They accept spawning in tools if you want. You just have to work on your own blocks. So, okay. So they're purists, but not like purists. Okay. All right.
I really kind of like where this is going. You're going to have there's going to be like gangs in New York street fights on how you're allowed to build stuff.
So I'm just going to tell you guys what I was doing because it was kind of dumb. and it didn't really go anywhere. And I kind of liked that it didn't go anywhere. So the map as it was before we had all these amazing logos on it had red on one side and blue on the other. And that was just because when it goes live and we have the ability to obviously get rewards in game, and the land key NFT owners are going to get rewards for people doing stuff, right? And the communities will earn rewards. So we're going to have it set up so that whichever community earns the most wax as a sort of collective will gain control of the center of the community cluster for 1 month, right? And then it'll roll over every month. And so by you basically splitting them into two teams completely arbitrarily, I was setting up a demarcation line that would make teaming up more likely, and basically just using some super basic monkey psychology as a test. But that is like not that interesting really, because I think those things are going to happen on their own. And like just seeing everybody's logos is just so ultra beautiful and fantastic and good for our whole community, right? So that's really what's going on. And for the amazing person who I'm not supposed to name right now, it's very hard to do because I love bragging about people who do amazing things. That community aggregation thing, and like the community cluster itself has become this aggregator of the amazing shit that's happening in our kind of ecosystem, right? Whether it's wax and there's some other projects or whatever. And that upliftworld.community website is that, right? You go there and you just see like an ocean of links of these projects you could spend an entire time exploring, enjoying the NU. So anyway, so that's fun. That's all I have to say about that.
It's a little bit related and totally not related at all. I had a problem the other night after we got off air, because we got off air and you jumped on with Philip Hamnet of Chintai. So I tuned into that for a little bit, and then I got a notification, so I had to go over and check out Anders on Any Observation because he was doing some Street Fighter pack opening stuff. And then I got like another notification. Ken Bozak went on live and he was talking about like some NFT stuff. At one point I had like 4 windows open on my computer, like just trying to like listen to like little bits and pieces of all of these people live. But why do I mention that? But that's the thing, right? There's so, and like, any Anders and Ken were, in the Uplift together at one point before, right? And so like, it's hard, like really hard, because there's all of these people that are like, so, connected before, and now even more so in the Uplift, that it's like, I'm sitting on like 3 different DACs right now of people who like, are working with, and it's just like, when can we have a meeting? And I'm like, I don't know, just tell me when our other meetings are, like it's like, and it's really fun, but it's really like at the same time, like you said, there's this crossing of all of these communities. And I was a big fan of DAX from like early on, not super early on, like not OG early on, but like, when I got into Vigor DAC, I thought it was pretty cool. This to me is almost exponentially better than a DAC, because instead of, one of the new, so a lot of DAC people, they use they use EOS DAC, but there's another kind of open system that's called DAClify, and DAClify it's not structured the same way. It's structured more in a community kind of way, where you can have different communities, like more like a representative democratic structure, where you can have communities that like vote in people who represent the community, that then like vote in on the proposals that are within the DAC. And kind of what I see in the Uplift world that's kind of happening now, and it's not really a political thing by nature, but it kind of reminds me of that aspect. So I'm really curious to see when this thing goes live and all of the other things in the world start happening, all of the events, all of the, arenas, or all of the, shared projects on the borderlines, things like that, like how that community kind of transcends. Because I think it's going to be really interesting and a really cool test case, but also model that could actually potentially work in the real world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that a lot, actually, because there's going to be the ability for, especially with DAX, as you're saying, like there's going to be the ability to iterate different governance structures. So we're going to see really quickly which ones will work out. And I think there are, while the uplift is going to be a microcosm of that, I think we're going to see that start happening all over the world really, really quickly. Like in sort of geological time, the amount of evolution that is actively being engaged in governance structures is going to go exponential. It is in fact exponential now. We're just at the beginning of it, right? So what that looks like in 20 years is amazing. What it looks like in 50 years is a complete reorganization of how human beings collaborate, which is much, much needed. And it'll be infinitely more dynamic and decentralized and distributed and powered by, all sorts of really, really hyper intelligent smart contracts that sort of encode our will and make things as fair and transparent as possible so that we are more and more effective at collaborating all the time, which is, that's just a big deal. That's cool. And if we can do any part in sort of speeding up the evolutionary process of that, I think that's really fun. And, we can start our own religions about people that only use survival mode, except you can spawn some tools every once in a while, which is like, we're super Catholic, but wink, wink. I like it.
That's some weird segue.
Yep. He's like, what?
No, I totally got it. It just threw me off. Usually I already know what I'm going to say. I just have to figure out the segue. But yeah, that segue stumped me.
Yeah.
I think, what I was going to say is just give me a political system whereby people can vote on where their tax money goes, and I'm kind of happy. And I could kind of see like a demo version of this happening in the uplift. And
Agreed.
The segue was, obviously we do our best to, get guests. But if people who should be, guests on the show and you would like to see them on the show, please reach out to us and let us know, which is exactly what actually happened on Tuesday this week. That guest, which was probably one of the most watched videos of the week, was actually recommended to us and we reached out and it would be good. But what I said this to somebody last week, and, you with your background and me with my background, we have varied, backgrounds, but also a lot of things kind of overlap, which I think we like doing the show. And I would actually love to have someone on the show that is an advocate of, blockchain governance in the real world. So if anyone out there knows someone now or later, please let us know. The closest people that I kind of know is maybe Everpedia is doing something like that. But I think that would be a really fun episode for you and me to just delve into like all of the possibilities that blockchain could have in the real world when it comes to, real world governance, real world taxes.
Yeah, I would love to find some advocates, because I know they exist, of people who are advocating for even just blockchain voting as an example, which would, I believe, remove from any semblance of doubt the outcome of any election ever again. Right. I mean, that's something that there's so much distrust in the system now. And, the same kind of blockchain that allows Bitcoin to function, or any of these cryptocurrencies or NFTs to function, would make a perfect voting mechanism. Right. And then, the votes are basically semi-public. Everyone has access to all of the data, except for your personal data. Right. Like nobody knows which Bitcoin address is yours necessarily. So go ahead.
There's about as much reason to use paper ballots and worry about hanging Tods as there is to use Ethereum DeFi and worry about high transfer fees. Put that.
Hold on. Hanging Tods is the new name of my country band because it was Chad's, but also really funny.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Hanging Tods is funnier. Greg, I don't know, man. I don't have time to promo anything anymore. We just started this. This is the third one of these that we've done. So, it's not like it's a huge tradition just yet. And we get together every week to go over the previous week's guests, of which we usually have, at almost 5, and go over all of the videos that are on the channel. And there's lots. So I guess we might as well get started. We had...
and this actually, we have a schedule. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. But this is non-scheduled. But the last 3 times it happened at 9 a.m.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of like angling towards that because like the consistency is really good. So I mean, it's not official, but it's kind of official. It's more traditional, subject to change at will.
But yeah, let's jump in. I don't know where we start. I guess we start off from the last roundup.
Start at church. Yeah, last roundup was fun. You can go watch that if you want. That was good. Then we had the Church of Reason gratitude ceremony, and that was the annual Carl Sagan one. I can't believe that was a week ago. That feels like a month ago. Where
it's quite late for me here. Sorry, I promise I'll give you a good reason to be cut off. It's quite late for me here, but you talked about that last week on the roundup, and I actually made a point to stay up and watch it with you in the comments. And yeah, it was really powerful to listen to what he had to say. You and Greg played that on the air. Mm-hmm. Everyone was quiet. I've read it before, but I've never listened to it before. I think it was Greg that kind of mentioned, like, yeah, or maybe it was you that mentioned this is the second time we've done it, so now this is, it's tradition. Like
yeah,
I like it a lot.
Once it's fun, cool. Twice it's tradition. Yeah, and so every year, whether it's on the day or around that week, Carl Sagan Day is we're going to be observing that for sure. And it was profound, and it's. Half the time, the gratitude ceremony is a really, really good place to go if you want to see Greg and I cry on the internet. Because we're emotional dudes and not super apologetic about it. Anyway, so that was fun. And so mere hours later, we did the Tiamo collectible love drop finale, where we raised another stupid amount of money for the Uplift Donate account. I don't even remember how much it was. I just know it was a lot. I think it was like 500,000 wax or something. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So another 500,000 wax. And this is the thing: if wax goes to $1, we have enough for 2 schools already.
Yeah. So unlike the last event, the Mr. Spaceman event, I guess, mm-hmm. that wax has already been essentially sent to Haitian Roots and implemented for their. And a school food program, but this wax, that was
series. Spaceman was this year.
Sorry,
series 1, the initial one, the I'm Not the Bubble, that went to Haitian Roots right away. Spaceman was this year. Anything that's going on this year, we're basically saving up until we have $450,000 US.
Yeah, so that wax has already been sent, but this wax is sitting in the account. And like you said, that was no. You were right. Maybe it was wrong.
No, you're good. That's fine.
But yeah, like you said, like until we have enough for a school, it's not going to be touched. But what happens when we get that spike, right? What happens when we get that 50% spike or that doubling? Because what do we do if we have enough for 2 schools? Like I guess we build 2 schools or we go to the next level, because I think we're doing so much good stuff.
Jimmy, I might cry on the internet right fucking now.
That's okay. You can do that. I'm all right with that.
So we're like the better part of halfway to goal right now.
That's pretty amazing.
$172,000 that we've raised, and this is the Uplift Donate account. Everything in here is for the school. This is nothing comes out of here except to go to Haitian Roots, and we've got almost 2 million wax there. So, and seriously, like I think we're probably going to be saving up till the end of the year anyway, right? Because this goal was to kind of go for the year or what have you. And, I think there's a significant probability the wax goes to $1. Like we might end up having to fund 5 schools. I don't fucking know. I know there's demand for it. And if there's not demand there, we're going to find it somewhere else. Like I just the amount of good that we're going to be able to do by just sending a portion of everything that we do, whether it's the art stuff or, 10% of all revenue that's coming into the uplift.world is going to Uplift Donate. Right. It kind of boggles the mind. A lot. And on this last drop where we added 500,000 wax to this total, I got to pay some friends of mine like a couple grand worth of like US dollar, in wax for building inside the Uplift, like for being part of the art installation that became what Blue loves to call the Kingdom of Love. And so that to me is like, now LT's, wandering around like a fucking baller with wax. It's great. And like they're, I bet they haven't looked at the price of wax this morning, but they fucking should, because it's crazy. Anyway, just to anybody who's been supporting Uplift art, and to the entire community that is gathering around, the Uplift, just thank you. Like, holy fucking shit. Like we're gonna actually do some good here, and I like it. Oh, it's smart. It's all staked too. I wonder how much that makes every month in staking rewards.
Yeah, actually.
I bet you it's like a couple thousand wax, which again is going to be hilarious when wax is $1. Anyway, I had to show you guys that. So you can go to I'll actually put it in the thing. You can go to wax.blocks.io and search for the account Uplift Donate. You can look at this anytime you want, which is actually going to be true of let's go there. I think it's the Uplift.xp. This is going to be the rewards account for the Uplift, and there's 900 wax in there right now. And Blue and I are within the next 48 hours launching something that our goal is to raise 1 million wax, and all of it, except for the 10% that we always send to Uplift Donate, is going to be going to the rewards pool, and up to 1 million wax is going to get matched by a benefactor who wants to support this project. So keep very good eye on the email list. If you're signed up for the email list at theuplift.world, that's a pretty smart idea. I think that's where the information is going to be going out first about a drop that's coming. That's going to be a community drop. And again, like, I've been saying 100%, but we decided to change that. 90% of it is going to the rewards pool. 10% is going to Uplift Donate, because I just wanted to make sure we're constantly at least doing something for the Uplift Donate account. So yeah, that's going to be amazing. So we're through one video. Do you have 2 more hours to do this?
No. But if you have signed up for that, I've got time. I like this. But if you have signed up for the Uplift World email account, make sure that you verify the email that comes to you, or else you won't be registered. So I just realized that today. I signed up like a week ago, but I didn't click the verification button.
Yeah. I'm not going to show anything that Roar is working on right now, because it's going to be part of the NFT drop, and we're going to unveil like that. It needs an unveiling. Some of you have already seen it if you're in the channel. Some of the work that Bitcoin Blues Brothers, Triple B's buddy is putting together. It's really, really beautiful. Like, I desperately want to own these things myself. So we're super excited about it. And Roar is going to be, I think, working with us on a bunch of new stuff. Just a really, really good digital artist. Huge fan. Massive shout out to the Roar.
And I want to say one more thing too, because I think this is really important. And I'm pretty sure it's right. If it's not right, then the screen's going to go like, many colored and just, bleep out. But so Corey and me and a few other people that do videos on this channel, we've got like a little section in the Uplift. I think it's labeled as the Uplifters now, our community cluster, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I guess, I'm hoping to get a piece of land gifted to me. I would imagine you'll get a piece of land gifted to you. Greg will get a piece of land. Some of the other people that we're working with will get a piece of land gifted to us. But I mean, this is no different than any of the other community clusters, whether you're from Boyd, whether you're from Blockbase, whether you're from Crown or NEO lands. But note that these are the only pieces that will actually be given away. Right? Like, we don't, like you made a point, like, I want to own one of these NFTs. Just because you're here and you're, organizing some of this stuff doesn't mean that you're going to get one of these NFTs, right? Like, this stuff is going up for auction, or it's being doled out to the community. The people who are most involved, they're not getting free shit that they can dump on the market later, right? And I just want to clarify that. Maybe you can go into it if you think it's more important, but I think
I think that's smart. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely going to be buying land in the uplift that I'm basically spearheading, right? And I'm excited to do it. I want to be part of the economic engine of it, right? And that's how you do that. So there's that, and yeah, I think the as far as the NFTs, I believe that on one of the rarity levels, one of the types, I believe there's going to be three. One thing that Mblue does a fair amount is they'll take like, we're gonna auction off the mint number one, and then he does another mints 2 through 21. He sort of keeps those for people that are intensely involved in the community, people like Roar who created the asset itself, right? And other people that are sort of intensely involved, right? But that's like 20 out of what are probably going to be 1,000, give or take, right? So it's not very many. And we definitely, with the eye of like, we don't want to have the situation where people can dump anything on the market for low value and have an effect on it for everybody else. And the same is going to be true for the uplift. I mean, the only people that have been granted land were the people that were there from the very beginning, and they're doing it like, again, like I wanted to make sure people like Greg, for example, and Ginny was one of them, like people that have been in the server for a year, right? Kind of breathing life into it, like Sue and Katie Gentry and stuff, and so I wanted to make sure they had some skin in the game just by dint of being around. But since then, they've also put in countless hours of work.
Yeah.
Whether it's improving chicken ka, or or helping with infrastructure. Almost all of them, if all of them, basically have been helping out with infrastructure, whether it's rail or surveying or what have you. So that it's sort of earned in that regard. And I think I keep bugging Greg. I keep asking him if he's going to sell his Pirate Bay 1 kilometer plot, and by asking him like, how much would you sell it for? He's like, I don't want to sell this. I'm like, yeah, but like you can go out in the boonies and make something else. Like what if somebody wants to like buy that piece for like 10 grand at some point? It's like, that'll never happen. I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Shit's weird.
I want to jump a little bit all over because we're already doing that, so we may as well go with it for today. So after one of our episodes, I think our episode with Lisa Chandler on Friday, there was a double one with you and Mblue and Philip Hammett that was also posted to Mblue's channel. And so I love Mblue. He's awesome. I've known him for a really long time. We've worked on Uplift Art before it was Uplift Art. We did a lot of planning, a lot of ideas that some of them might actually get implemented into this if we have our way. But I'm totally gonna throw him under the bus here because I thought it was hilarious. I was watching that back live, and he was talking about how he hoped that Ripple would win against the SEC, and I watched your eyes roll. I thought,
no, I didn't. I probably did,
but like it's a totally different issue, right? Like I don't really care whether they win or they lose. I don't have any like. I don't really like. I don't consider like the only thing that really annoys me about Ripple is they said like we're fighting for all of crypto, and in my opinion,
they're not
right. Like they're not.
Yeah,
right?
they're secure. Like this is the thing, and this is like maybe the only place where Mblue and I will maybe ever disagree. I mean, I hope like they're gonna settle with the SEC. Like thinking about whether or not they will or not is irrelevant. They're gonna settle because they're a security, and they've always been a security. Read the basic security law. Ripple's a fucking security, period. It always has been, right? And so, the regulation around that, like I am hoping, because there's not enough clarity around it anyway. So I think we all win in the sense, and in this sense, I think Ripple might actually be right. We all win because they're going to be forced to clarify, a lot of the regulations around this, and hopefully that swings in a way that still allows for, rampant innovation. Right.
Well, I don't think it'll make
that's a possibility.
I don't think it'll make much difference that they win. Really, like it'll just be business as normal. If they lose it, we might all lose. That's a possibility, right?
Well, because, I mean, EOS lost.
They don't. Yeah, but the regulators, they don't. No, I mean, like if they take it to court and they actually lose, right? Not if they settle.
Well, that's why they'll settle. They'll settle. They have like $100 billion worth of whatever they have or whatever, right? And like EOS settled for 25 million. It's a joke. It's a joke. They raised 4 billion. They raised 4,000 million. And then they was like, hey, can you guys pay us 25 million? They're like, yeah, you want fries with that? They don't give a fuck. Right. And so now granted, like I think we're seeing a lot of the ramifications of that after that. And we talk about that all the time. We don't need to talk about that. So anyway, yeah.
No, but
he's got a little Ripple bag. He's been around for a while. What are you gonna do?
To bring us back to reality, like there's many reasons that you dislike Ripple, right? But one of the reasons that you don't really like Ripple is because the majority of the supply landed in the Ripple's founders' hands.
Well, it always does, right? And they release $1 billion a month, and it goes OTC to their friends almost, right?
Yeah. And so, I just want to make this clear: this is not happening in Uplift. This is this is one of Corey's core principles about So I just that's kind of why we jumped to there and came back. This is not something that's happening, right? This is to be avoided at all costs. So carry on.
It's really important. No, even I'm working with Chicken Caw, Chicken Caw, because they were asking can we put our land on sale around when you guys do, right? And I asked them to not. I mean, they're going to have land for sale that is within the city limits of Chicken Caw. Because we granted that to them, right, as a test case for us too. It's a great experiment for us, and asked them not to put any out for sale until after. And really, we just won't mint the NFTs until after the alpha sale, right? So they would be able to do it anyway. But I mean, they agree to it, which is awesome, and that's really because that allows us to set price discovery, right? If they did it, maybe they sell theirs for whatever. There's some interesting dynamics there, and we have to work on that as a community, right? And so they're the perfect group to have done this, because they're really close to this and stuff. But that's gonna be something that we deal with moving forward, and so it's gonna be really important. Granted, the people that to get your hands on a city somewhere else is gonna cost a minimum of 10 grand. A minimum. So you're not going to see people, chopping that up and selling it for pennies on the dollar. So that'll be good. And yeah, as far as the I think we've got 20 or 30 railway plots that I've secured in the city center, which is going to be for the team. They're not going to sell those, I don't think. I mean, they can if they want. Somebody's going to definitely want to buy them. So there's awesome, Craig. That's awesome. Yeah, we're not giving away a billion Ripple worth of land every month. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know what's funnier, the fact that the chicken cause, or the fact that the chicken's name is Laugh Track. I'm not really sure.
The Monday.
Let's go.
We had Adriana Mendes from Cypher Glass on Monday.
That was awesome. Yeah,
fucking glorious.
That was awesome.
Yeah, she's really good. I can't wait to have her back. And talk about just there's a lot of guests that we have that I feel just kind of class up the joint. Because Jimmy, you're a really good writer, and you're kind of professional, and I'm just, what's the word? Not at all. So it's just having people like Adriana in to class up the joint is fun for me, and she's wicked smart.
I understand what you're saying, but I it goes both ways. I mean, I would not be nearly as cool if I wasn't here with you.
It goes both ways.
I do, and
okay, cool.
Only because of that little white pill that helps us.
Wow, little white pill. What kind of pills are you on?
They're not white.
I don't know. What kind of pills are we talking about?
I don't know, but I should maybe fucking check the expiry date.
Wow. This got weird. Okay, so Tech Talk on a Tuesday. We had what's his name again? GP32D9EO or something?
CC with a few letters and some numbers thrown in.
You're right. I like it.
Yeah,
we were nicknamed of CC. Stan.
And honestly, again, this was one that was recommended to us, and you defaulted to the old intro, which actually made it work because really this guy was next level. I can't count the number of people that popped into the comments to say like, he is legend, he is legend, he is legend. Right. And like, it was really nice to see that. And we had like some really cool people engaging in the comments that like, you know, might not necessarily pay attention to our show on NFT Game Day or Media Moguls Day. So that was really nice to have that from the other side of the, you know, from the other side of the fence, really. And, you know, he's already talking in the DMs and in the comments about coming back and talking about those chips. So we learned about those chips, and I thought that was really cool. But he told us basically in the comments that he needed another 3 hours to explain what's going on properly. So I think we're definitely going to have him back. But yeah, those are, they're not really, but RFID type chips that he was doing. That sounded like a really cool idea. So I definitely want to have him back. And what did you think? I mean, you were, you know,
yeah, like it definitely the you know, that's why we do Tech Talk on a Tuesday, right? Like we got in the weeds on the technology side to the point where, you know, even like I'm like, I think a decent novice, like obviously I can't design any of it, but it's like physics, right? Like I know enough to kind of understand what's being talked about at a really super not high but general level, right? Enough to be like ooh and ah, which, you know, is about all I want to spend time on. But yeah, I mean the RFID chip stuff. I mean, that being able to link that in with the blockchain. I mean, that, you know, is good for things like supply chain. And actually, you mentioned like Wanchain. I think that was actually my first trade in cryptocurrency back in 2016.
I didn't mention Wanchain actually, but that is close.
Which
enough.
one you mentioned? Like it was like
Walton actually.
Walton chain. Yes, that was the one. And yeah, I made like 723% on that trade, and that's where I was like, Forex is dead to me.
yeah. I mean, it was promising. They killed themselves in community sentiment. So anyone who tells me that like EOS has killed themselves in community sentiment, no, they haven't. Because I remember back in those days where like, you know, people were like, they did a competition where like somebody from like the inner circle like won the competition, and everyone cried scam. And it's like, yeah, well,
it's like one of the random picks on our show.
Yeah, every single one.
Oh, it's so funny.
But we did do that on Wednesday, maybe. But I like if one of our guests wins, I'm going to give it to him. But if M Blue wins, I'm not going to give it to him. I'm sorry, M Blue, we love you, but that just looks really bad.
It does look weird.
And yeah, EOS Detroit as well. They won their own gift as well 2 weeks ago. So Corey and Greg in the uplift. This is getting to be a little bit too much for one show 1 week, and so that's where the community page comes in good. And I'm planning on, you know, thank you. You mentioned that I'm a writer, and I am, and I'm planning on. We are planning on some of the people on the back end as well. We're planning on doing a kind of introductory blog that will hopefully complement this piece that you guys do, interviewing various teams and putting it print and asking them a few questions. And so we're hopefully going to be able to, you know, take some of the footage that you guys do on a weekly basis. It won't always be coordinated, but it'll be good. So what did you guys do on this week? Where did you go? What did you see?
I think a lot of it was going to Crownlandia. Truthfully, it was like a week ago. It feels like 2 months ago. So that's a little yeah, I don't really remember, but I know we went to Crown because Greg actually built an amazing build over there. I think we touched down in Chicken Cobb briefly. And so that was fun. Yeah, I would go back and watch it. We covered a lot. I can't remember because it's a long time ago. How terrible is that? All of 4 days ago, and I already can't really remember. So
you guys have your snowballs in the uplift. I've got my real ice balls here. So
nice. Ice balls are where it's at.
I'm not going to do it when we have a guest, but yeah. So then the next one was the first appearance of the giant shirtless man, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, Nathan, who's one of the new head wizards, dev people at Uplift Art and the Uplift, joined us for. I needed a sunrise. It was sort of in the evening. I was flabbergasted at all the amazing things that are going on. And when I get overwhelmed by how awesome everything is, I literally walk into the cathedral in game and I sit down and I wait for the sunrise, and I take some time to reflect and throw some gratitudes up on the wall. And so I had some people join us for that. Sue Gentry was there, and Nathan, of course, and G Money. And it was just good. We had an awesome conversation about the sort of the principles and vision that we have for the space, and getting. I was actually Nathan's first time doing a sunrise with us, so it was good. It was good.
I actually had to pull the car over on the side of the road because I was, you put the post up and I was like, oh, I can't join. I'm busy. I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I listened to it in my car. And then I heard maybe it was Sue or maybe somebody else. Mentioned something about not having a shirt on, and I was like, what's going on the screen over here? I've never actually met Nathan, but I've worked on this and a few other projects, in either before or after him, in similar times. So it was really interesting to hear what he had to say, and he's got some super great ideas, and he's an absolute genius. He's really good at what he does, like most of the people we work with, but really good at what he does.
He's one of these people that's smart enough that's half the time I'm like, did what he say make any sense at all? And then I think about it for an hour and a half. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it all makes sense. We're going to the moon. Okay, cool.
Yeah. He's not a new kid on the block. Let's put it that way.
No.
He's been around for a long time. He's got a lot of accomplishments to his name. So it's super exciting that he's involved.
Yeah, and he's I think very, very few people think bigger than M Blue and I, and he thinks so much bigger than me personally sometimes. So I have to step back and is this insane? And I always end up coming after a lot of reflection, come back and thinking it's not actually, which is pretty intense. So that was fun. And on Wednesday,
I know he's really busy, but at some point when this world goes off, we definitely need to have him on for Tech Talk on a Tuesday.
That's 1,000,000% agreed. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Just talking about even all of his sort of past exploits and the future ones as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Wednesday we had the new deacon. The Pope. What's a good name for religious zealot, like a leader of because it's not a cult. This is going to be a well-established religion in the Pastafarian kind of vein, I believe.
The Neo Geist.
Yeah, Neo Geist. Anyway, yes, Andrews is starting a religion. It's really serious, especially if you have the gall to use creative mode in the uplift for anything other than spawning tools. You're allowed to do that, wink wink. Anyway, so we had Anders is one of my favorite people in the space. He's just super positive, super fun, really knowledgeable about everything in the NFT and the game space, and is the perfect recurring guest for Media Moguls. That whole episode was just a barrel of fun.
Yeah, we toured basically, inside some of the secret rooms. I didn't realize that a lot of what was there on his land was actually, kind of spawned. I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology for this, but kind of there when the block was spawned, and then he kind of found it and developed it after that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of cool to see that. He gave us the I'm not a beginner anymore rundown on what's going on in the uplift world, and I liked it, because I'm still a beginner. I'm a false beginner. I'm not even on the line yet. I'm kind of waiting for those people to run because I really need to get into game with Greg, so that I how to run.
Book it.
I'm totally gonna book it this week, or next week. But yeah, we're totally gonna do it. I'm looking forward to that actually, because I gotta learn. And actually, I'm hoping, my nephew might come and join us as well.
Nice.
I'm trying to get him hooked up. So, the Mars landing, you did a special episode on that.
Well, the next one that we did was Sire Weekly, and we had Jacques from Discussions app join us.
Sorry, it's really small. I missed that. Yeah, so. So yeah, let's go with Jacques. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean he's been one of the more outspoken detractors of Block One, and in general, it's not entirely undeserved. But there's a lot going on. They're working really closely with Telos now, which I think is great. I think they're going to do a lot of really cool things together. And we were bragging on him. He was literally the first person in cryptocurrency that I interviewed, and that really speaks to the fact that he is out there, doing community work at breakneck pace and has been for years, and is really awesome. And so it was good. And we touched on some news. It's never as much news as we want to cover, but that's because sometimes we have a guest and that kind of takes precedence. Again, the core element of this channel is, we want the people that are coming to be part of this community with us. We want you to get to know these people, right? Because they're humans, but they're also really passionate and doing really, really amazing things. And so we focus on that whenever we can. And so yeah, we did. We went live for the Mars landing and ended up being like 2 hours early. So Greg and I just kind of hammed it up for a bit. I spent a while working on the Blue Room live. Again, I would love to see more people just streaming their builds live with maybe with the hashtag the Uplift Live or something. Because I was actually talking to Lisa Chandler about how to aggregate them on this channel. That'd be really cool. And then, of course, we did Mars Landing Actual, which was the actual landing. They landed a compact RV sized, not RV, whatever. What's the name of that truck, basically?
Rover?
A Rover, but the size of an SUV, small SUV is what I was trying to say. On Mars with a rocket crane, because go fuck yourself. Rocket cranes.
Well, I mean, Mars is really big, right? It's much bigger than Earth.
No, it's very small.
It's smaller than Earth?
Yeah, it's like a third the size.
Okay, so this is why I don't join these episodes, because I know shit.
Fair enough. I mean, no, it's educational.
I didn't know that. Okay, sorry. Maybe I did know that, but I don't pay as much attention.
Yeah, and commensurately, gravity is a third as well. So you could literally, from standing still, you could jump over a car, like pretty easily.
No, I was thinking of. Sorry, I got confused. I was thinking, what did you say the uplift was the size of? Was that with Saturn?
Neptune.
Okay, see.
Yeah, roughly the same surface area as Neptune, theoretically.
I think I know all the planets. I just don't know anything about them.
Okay, so Neptune, I believe, is the third biggest behind Saturn and Jupiter.
Fair enough.
I think Uranus might be in there somewhere. Insert 13-year-old boy joke here.
If you walked on Neptune, you'd probably fall through the other side and be crushed.
Yeah, right? I mean, you wouldn't, because it's a gas giant. So yeah, you would get sucked into the center, which is probably metallic crystalline hydrogen, but they're not sure.
Count them back, but I think I got 1 out of 10 right.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You would eventually hit something solid, but you would be very, very small, compressed, junk by then, and nothing resembling a human form.
I like it.
The pressures would be immense.
NFT game day was with Lisa Chandler, and that was interesting for 2 reasons. Number 1, because it was Lisa Chandler. Number 2, because she's in the mountains, and there was like a slight time delay, which we've never had to deal with before, which was quite interesting. So I thought it was a really thoughtful episode. I actually took time to actually think about what the guest was saying. No disrespect to any other guest.
I mean, I usually don't, you fucks, but yeah.
No, but it was fun, and there's a lot to unpack. With Crown DAC, with the Dacathon, with the hackathon, Crownlandia, all of this other stuff. So it's probably better if you talk about this a little bit, because it's still a little bit unclear in my mind. But I guess we're going to be quite a big part of the upcoming Dacathon.
Yeah, I mean, the guests that we're going to have that week, because Dacathon is actually going to run for a week, are going to all be related to the Dacathon events. They're going to be speaking at it more specifically. There is a bunch of roundtables and conversations that are going to be centering around the uplift and different principles around it, which I'm really, really stoked about. Like, I was looking at the schedule, and like almost half of it is the uplift or uplift related, which I think is going to be super fun. 2 weeks. Sorry. Thank you, Lisa. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like, if you like this channel and other channels like it that are around the space, it's just going to be like a blitz, right? There's just going to be tons and tons of stuff going on. And that's where, the a lot of it is going to be around governance. That's what DACs, decentralized autonomous communities or corporations, and and a hackathon, right? So a lot of people like the wizards are going to be making all sorts of cool tools and talking about new things that they can build. And so it's going to be an amazing event, and we'll have some. We should actually have Max on before the event, and maybe bring Lisa on as well, just to do some promo for it. I think they can.
Yeah, it would definitely be good to have.
Than I can.
We had Lisa last week, but yeah, and if I recall correctly, Lisa actually told us about the last one where the whole idea of Crownlandia kind of spawned. So that was an interesting kind of concept from our perspective.
Yep. Yeah. And that Crownlandia is actually going to live just west of Chicken Caw. And I'm pretty excited about it. Nice. Good job. I was like... so the next one was a surprise chat. It was just going to be a demo / conversation with Chintai.io. And then, Emblue was like, hey, you want to do it live and you want to do it right now? And I was like, yes. But it was great to meet Philip. They're out in Singapore. They're doing like a white paper to funding round situation where they basically handle all the legalities and basically make sure that you're within the regulatory scope of at least Singapore and the rest of the world, because the SEC is annoying. So that's really interesting, right? So it's basically they're positioning themselves to be like the New York Stock Exchange, for example. Like imagine 5 years from now going to ring the Chintai bell, because they're also doing their own marketplace, and it's all within the scope of regulatory functions in some really, really big markets out east and England and Europe and stuff. So that part's really interesting. They're also talking about fractionalizing, which is a word you're going to want to remember, because Emblue and the team and we talk about this all the time. It's about fractionalizing art into NFTs, and that same capacity is going to allow us to fractionalize pieces of the uplift as a service, so that if you want to give out 1,000 NFTs that are effectively 1,000 little pieces or shares of your land plot, you're going to be able to do that, which is really interesting. They're doing that with buildings, right? So most people can't invest in commercial real estate, for example, unless they get into like big funds that are kind of like mutual funds. You don't really have a choice in what you invest in. They're basically going to allow people to fractionalize or tokenize large real estate holdings, large buildings, and normal investors like us would be able to get positions, get exposure to those assets.
Yeah,
which is really fascinating. Yeah, well, and we invited them to be one of the first among the financial district that I think we're probably going to build between the alpha and the beta. Maybe after the beta, I haven't really decided yet. Whenever we have time.
That was actually one of the times that I kind of popped in, and I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a fight," because Boyd's got like a financial district brewing over there on their land. So like,
I don't know. There's like some tall buildings outside of Atlanta, but it's not New York. And believe me, like when it comes down to who's going to be building it, we're just going to hire Gary to do it anyway, because nobody's better than him at making giant buildings. So what we're talking about doing is creating a situation where you could basically buy a block in height for each one of the buildings there, right? And basically have these large sort of financial type things vie for supremacy, getting the tallest possible building, and of course we slap your name on it, that kind of thing, right? And so I asked him, like, could you fractionalize ownership of even in a regulatorily, that's a terrible word, but like in full compliance with regulations, meaning we probably have to do KYC, that kind of thing for this. Could you fractionalize a building there that's gonna be revenue generating? I mean, how much we don't know yet, but like that's the idea. Could you fractionalize ownership of a tall building, inside the uplift as an example of what you can do in the real world? And he thought about it for like 5 seconds and then just said yes. Like, what?
So,
okay.
So we're hoping to have David
awesome.
on soon. actually on our channel as well soon. And he's the CEO, and I've done a couple interviews with Ryan Betham, and they're actually interested in becoming a regular part of our guest audience as well. But they kind of said, we don't just want to come on your show and tell you the same thing that we tell everyone else. We actually want to have like release projects, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things, like you said, that they're really working on hard, because they've been a leader in the space in a lot of ways. Like they came up with, they didn't really, but they kind of came up with the idea of like Rex before Rex, right? Like they were looking at like the Chintai leasing markets and things like ahead of their game. And now the thing that they're onto, I think, which is really fascinating, like you said, is this real estate marketing, right? And I mean, and Blue always says this as well, but like, we always say this, like, you need to tokenize the world. Well, no, you don't need it used to be, right? You don't need a coin for everything, right? Like not every project needs a coin, right? Not every project that's out there needs to be on the blockchain, right? But tokenization of the world in terms of like, value is a really big thing, right? And there's this interesting kind of concept in Japan where when you buy an apartment, you own, a slice of the land. But not only do you own a slice of the land, like you own a slice of the land under the apartment, but they actually know which slice is yours under the apartment, right? This is like a really weird, like, and you can have two types. You can have a type where you just buy an apartment and you just own the apartment, or you buy an apartment and you own a part of the land that the apartment's on, right? And so whenever I think about like tokenization of real estate, I kind of think about like that in terms of this, right? Like we've got the prospectors game thing going, right? But like that's the thing, right? Like, do you remember that old, I don't know, sorry, but there was an old Simpsons episode where there was like oil under the school, and like they came in and they had like the slant drilling operation. But like I think this is like huge, right? It's huge in art, it's huge in real estate, it's huge in property. And I mean, if you look at some of the real estate moguls around the world, this is how they got rich, right? They took out essentially loans from the bank because they had a high credit rating. They were able to invest in real estate, and they were able to, sell it later at a profit. And the majority of people here in this world today aren't able to do that, right? They can't get those lines of credit. They can't see the gains in that. And so if you can actually, essentially use your crypto to buy into a fund that would essentially allow you to take revenue when that artwork or when that real estate is sold. So I think what Shintai's onto is really huge in this respect.
Agreed. Yeah, it's democratizing access to one of the most stable asset classes in the world. And as far as thinking in terms of just, regular everyday working people from anywhere, Venezuela to, the upstate New York, are going to be able to get access to a democratized, tokenized real estate market. It's important. It's really important. And so like having that as an example of that in the financial district, and the fact that they're kind of game to look into it and to do it, it's just one more thing on top of the holy fucking shit cake that is the last week. Anyway, so that was fun. So I did a little demo for Exit Limbo and Alpacas. So these are kind of two upstart communities in the NFT space. Alpacas is fucking adorable. And Dr. Unani, who's running our Discord, did an article about them. You could probably find it in the Discord, or ask him to send it to you. Actually, I think I threw it in the show notes. If I didn't, I should. They're just adorable. It's like a family of people that kind of made this really adorable, alpaca line of NFTs. I think they're in the Netherlands, but they're from Guatemala, and they're just like really cool. It's really adorable. And the Exit Limbo, they're doing kind of some darker sort of comic art kind of. I think it might be based on a game. I still need to learn a little bit more about it. But we're putting them, in a community cluster together, right? It's kind of like the yin yang. They're going to be like right next door. They're basically going to get half of one of those clusters each. And so I'm really, really excited. And I would kind of love, it was like a short episode. It was only about 15, 20 minutes. And I kind of want to do this with everybody else, but in pairs, because I don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want to get to everyone. So, if you're within earshot and you are in the community cluster and you want to jump up to the top of the list to do an episode with another one of the members of the community cluster, at me aggressively, which will help me out a lot because then that'll be one that I don't have to book myself. So anyway, they're really cool. That was an extra thing that we did, and I'm going to be doing that really aggressively for the rest of this week. And that takes us up to today. I mean, we got church in 50 minutes, which is the gratitude ceremony. That'll be here and in game if you want to join us in game if you're in there. And I guess then we talk about like what do we have coming up this week.
Well, we went a little bit long, so we can, cut this a little bit short. But Monday, I'm kind of excited about it. We got Michael back for a second time from EOS USA.
Cool.
That'll be good. I think he wants to maybe go into a little bit about what he's been doing with history nodes, and also what's going on in some of the uplift stuff as well.
Yeah, we should just start building. I'll just start building for him while we're doing it because we started having some really good ideas about what to build for him. So
yeah. So that'll be our next week. I think I can pull it up here, but we still waiting on a couple guests for that. But yeah, I'm. And on Tuesday we've got. I think you booked Crypto Pick.
Oh yeah, good. Those guys are cool.
I don't know that much about them. Who are they?
They I think it's Crypto Pick. .io or something. It's .net. Thank you. And it's basically like it's a game ish, right? And it's like a trading game. You basically go in and go, hey, is Bitcoin going to go up or down? And you bet some of their token or whatever. And if you're right, you win, and if you're not, then you lose. And they've got a bunch of them, and like different competitions and stuff like that. And it's kind of a super fun way to rampantly speculate about the price of assets, which people like doing, as it turns out. It's kind of fun.
Good. Yeah. And then the rest of the week, we got some people on the mark, but we haven't really scheduled days and times because it's kind of working out. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I kind of want to, honestly, I kind of want to co-opt EOS.io weekly and change the name of the channel just for one day and do a Wax.io weekly because there's so much going on in the Wax space. Maybe we'll just do that. Maybe for some of these EOS.io weekly updates, instead of having guests, it's nice to have guests, but instead of having guests, maybe we can just focus on some of the chains that we adore and we love, which is pretty much most of them. But I mean, there's lots going on in Wax. There's lots going on in Telos. There's lots going on in Ultra. Things are just going to get more maddening. So maybe we can work that into our weekly.
Yeah, no, I like it. That'll be a lot of fun.
So,
yeah, I guess the only other thing is, and maybe I don't know, maybe we can get, we might even want to get Inblue on Media Moguls on Wednesday because I think by then we will have dropped the first community drop for the Uplift, which is specifically to raise money for the rewards pool. And again, if you haven't heard of that, make sure that you go to theuplift.world. That's a website. Put your email address in there. To Jimmy's point, make sure you confirm it. I don't think I did, so I'm gonna have to go do that for myself. We're going to be putting notice out there first, and then to the various Telegram communities about this community drop that we're doing. 90% of the Wax rewards that Wax that we make from those, and people are going to want these NFTs. They're really, really good. I personally want them, which is why I feel comfortable saying that. I'm going to be buying them myself. 90% of the revenue that comes in is going to go straight to the uplift.xp, which is the rewards pool. And 10% is going to go to Uplift Donate, because again, we always do that. At least a portion to the school mission. So that part's going to be fun. And I just like the whole idea that, we might raise a significant percentage of 1 million Wax and then have our mysterious benefactor come in and double it is intense if you're me. Because what if Wax moves to $5 and so they were sitting the reward pool is $10 million? What do we even do with that? I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
So if we go back to Thursday just for a moment, Jack kind of has ported a little bit over towards Telos, which is good. A lot of projects did. I mean, a lot of projects opened up a second avenue in Telos or Wax from EOS.io. And as I mentioned earlier, Jack and I, one of the first times I was actually on screen, we did this rundown of all of the social apps. And one of the social apps that was on the radar was Murmur. And Murmur, they kind of, ported over to Telos, but then nobody ever heard from them again. Like I really liked what they were doing. It was kind of cool, right? But Jack now, he's an established kind of DApp, and he's porting over there. And this is kind of how I feel about the Uplift world, because, you know, you're bringing two communities together in a sense. You're bringing the people who, you know, are in the Wax or ESIO ecosystem that want to find a place that they can be a community with other people, play with those other people that they find, you know, endearing. You know, Telegram or Twitter isn't always a fun playground, right? Like I don't want to go to a park where like, you know, somebody comes in and punches me in the balls every 3 seconds, you know, like it's like, it's, but then you've also got this community of Uplift people, right? This community of people who are Minecrafters, right? And you've got this huge community who are Minecrafters. And maybe to leave it on this other note, right? Like from my perspective, it kind of seems like the world that we're building in the Uplift is really huge. It's going to be really big, and there's a lot of players involved. But there's other people thinking about doing this as well, right? There's other projects that are interested in this. So I kind of feel like our Uplift community is going to be the, you know, the guiding light towards tokenizing of mainstream gaming in a sense. Like and I'm not saying that like other projects won't be able to do it, but this idea of bringing in the lanky NFTs and letting people come in and get rewarded to play a game that they should have been rewarded, like nothing against Minecraft, obviously, right? Because Minecraft is one of the better ones. If you look at things like Fortnite, where you're actually buying things and you don't get any return, but like the idea to actually reward people in gameplay, I think is amazing. So watch us. It's going to be huge.
I have nothing to add. Done.